Well, folks, I got to tell you, it's now become like the highlight of our winter meetings the past couple of years because we haven't been able to see him in the last couple of years. He is the Hall of Famer, and we want to say congratulations.
I appreciate that, Christopher.
What a big deal. Chris Russo, the Mad Dog, congratulations. We're just not talking like a sports radio Hall of Fame, the Radio Hall of Fame.
That was important for me. It's
a
good call.
Big deal.
I went out to Chicago there that weekend. I did not go to the middle three of the World Series because the Hall of Fame was a Tuesday night. I bought 3 tables. It's a very tedious night. There are 10 speakers, and it started at 7:30. It's a cocktail and dinner. It started at 7:30. Okay, I was the 6th speaker. I got on at 10:15. I mean, it took forever, and I was going to. They said 5. You know, I had Stephen A. Smith do the induction. So they said, Chris, 5 to 8 minutes. They told me that the week before. Everybody went forever. I said, I told myself, I got 3 people here. I wrote a speech out. I got 3 tables here. I can't go 5-7 minutes for these people came all this way. So I did 17 minutes ad lib and got out. That's what I did.
Well, I remember when
I enjoyed it.
I remember when you were gone because Moses, your producer, who helps us out all the time here. I don't know if you know that. Moses is great.
He's a great guy.
And I was like, where is he? He's like, oh, he's at the Hall of Fame. I mean, when you get into our industry, you never really think about something like that because you think of the medium radio and how long it's been in the United States of America to that at some point in your career, you'd be recognized as one of the greatest in this medium that's got us through the worst of times. It's gotten us through wars, depression, what radio was meant to the United States, to this country, to the world. And to think that you got into that Radio Hall of Fame, just was there time just to sit back and just go,
absolutely.
My God.
Absolutely. They called me on July 25th. I had just lost a terrible tennis match in doubles and an inter-club match. I was all upset. I drove home. They called me, and they said, Chris, we got good news for you. So, yes, that meant a lot. And I was very surprised. For my fans, it meant a lot.
Yeah.
For the Mad Dog Unleashed radio fans, it meant a lot to them because of the fact that they feel part of it the last 14 years at Sirius XM. You know, FAN is going to be, you know, that's where my chops at FAN. I understand that. But the fans at Sirius, it was very important to them. And they did, Sirius did a good job. They bought a table, and Sirius paid for all the expenses for folks to get out there. And the other thing is, Sirius did a 2-hour tribute the 5 days before that. And we did 2 hours. We had a lot of people on. People did clips and everything else. You know who led off the 5 o'clock hour live for 10 minutes? Letterman.
You are good friends with Dave Letterman, yeah.
If you get Letterman to do it, and he did a radio skit. And he came on, he did a TV skit on radio. So that tells you that it meant a lot to a lot of people. So I didn't know that was going to be the case before the whole scenario started in July. So from that standpoint, you know, make you feel pretty good. And I felt good about the speech. I did a good speech. So that was good.
Well, I mean, you have the generations that have grown up with you from the sports radio in New York that really became national. And I remember watching you when they put you guys on Yes Network.
Right.
And then now to where you took that bold leap to go to Sirius XM, you know, kind of Stern was the first one to do it.
Right.
And because I actually was with CBS Radio to replace Stern. I remember that whole thing. And then now kind of we're all in our new mediums. Sirius XM's not a new, but when you did it, that was still kind of something where
it was a risky move. It was 2008. And that's, 14 years ago now. And, although Howard got there, and I think he got there in 2006, that was still a risky move. Now, I wouldn't have done it if not for Howard and Mel Karmazin, because Mel Karmazin bought Infinity. He was my boss for a long period of time, and I trusted him. But that stock got to 1 penny that fall of 2008. And so John Malone and Liberty Media bought out, went heads with Mel. And, of course, the company has been what it is, ever since. But I took a chance. I was looking for something, doing a little something different. Mike and I have been together for 19 years at WFAN in New York. This was an opportunity. Mel gave me a channel. He gave me 5 years guaranteed contract. He said, Chris, do what you want. So, as far as the channel is concerned, do what you want. You're in charge. It gave me a budget. I had to do it. It was 48 years of age. It was sort of the back nine of my career, starting the 10th hole. If I was ever going to take a chance, that was the time to do it. It was time for a change. So I'm glad I did. It was at that time it was risky, but it turned out to be the right decision.
Well, you took the chance, and now you're getting the green jacket in the Butler cabin after
because
what
that's
you guys
a nice
have
way
done.
to say it. Yes, Jim Nantz is not handing it to me, nor is last year's winner, but that's a fair point. Good job on your part.
So I think about how much people need to understand that when you're on Sirius XM, and we love the baseball channel on Channel 89. We love your channel. We talk about it because we use a lot of stuff from you guys. Is you've got to cover all sports, but then now you're doing TV. But how do you do everything and then go, okay, let's just do the baseball TV show?
Well, the baseball TV, it's only an hour. You do it in segments. There's about 6 segments you got to do. I have Alana Rizzo, who I know is going to do a segment or 2 every day as well. I can talk into a camera. It's, I can set the show up with a 10-minute monologue, which is easy enough. I've interviewed 1 billion people over my life. So if you give me, I had AJ Preller to start the show today. You give me a guy, I know what to ask. So that really is not that difficult to do that show. I think on the radio is not difficult either. I mean, I was born to do this, to make a long story short, and I know how to connect with the fan base. And I've done the radio for so long that I can do it in my sleep. The TV is a little bit of an adjustment, but it's not as big a deal with the baseball because it's, not as much as it used to be, but it's still, my favorite sport growing up as a kid. I know the history of it pretty well, and baseball is very good with history. So I can break down the 68 Tiger Cardinal World Series. Yeah. I can break down the 51 Giant Yankee World Series, and I can break down the Yankees in 26 losing to St. Louis. So if you can do those things, and the Hall of Fame, and Ruth and Garrick and DiMaggio and all the Yankees scenario and all the great players, Williams, if you can do that, that's half the battle with the baseball. So the baseball is not that difficult, not as hard as you think. Now, I'll say this. Every day in the wintertime, it's a little trickier because remember, you're doing 220 shows a year. And that show is not just during the season. It's during, once that season's over and the World Series is over and this is over, this is over when? Tomorrow. So I will have basically between December, let's say the judge signs, we get that out of the way. Let's say I'll go from like December 15th to March 15th with not a lot going on. And that's a lot of shows. So that is when it becomes difficult because you got every day for an hour for 3 months with no baseball. So that's when it becomes a little tricky. But overall, it's the gift of the gab. If you have the gift of the gab, you can do it. So I'm okay with it.
You are the best guy to ask. Obviously, everything in New York and also being a Giants fan, I've been saying this. All right, all this stuff with Aaron Judge. You can tell me all you want about he grew up liking Rich Aurelio. I start thinking about the Wall of Fame. You want to be on the Wall of Fame with Hunter Pence and Marvin Bernard? Or at the end of your career, you want to have that monument with those guys you just mentioned, Ruth, DiMaggio, Gehrig, Reggie Jackson, Derek Jeter. I can't imagine leaving Broadway, leaving the #1 show.
I agree.
I respect San Francisco. It's our market. I'm actually kind of crapping on where we live, but I'm like, you want to be on the wall with Hunter Pence and hang out with Rich Aurelio, or you want to be a Yankee, which changes not only your life, but your kids, your grandkids, your grandkids' kids.
There's only one Yankees. That was what I was thinking throughout the offseason. I did not think he'd leave. This Time magazine story that came out in the last couple of days about how he always wanted to be a Giant, and the fact he wasn't happy with the Yankees when they announced what he offered him back in the beginning of the year at $212 million. He thought they put him in a tough spot. So based on those 2 comments, I'm a little less confident that he stays with the Yankees, but you're right overall. The Yankees, there's no baseball franchise like the Yankees. They just hit the 62 homers. It's Yankee Stadium. The fans love them. They're in the playoffs every year, which the Giants you cannot say. I know they've won 3 championships, and the Yankees haven't done that since the Giants won the 3, but the Giants are sort of good one year, bad the next. The Yankees are good every year. I still lean to the Yankees, but I'm a little less confident now based on what I read in the last day or so on the Time magazine. A little less confident.
Who are the Boston Red Sox now?
Yeah, that's true. They got to spend some money. I mean, Bogarts and Devers, Phillies are out of the Bogarts issue now. We all thought maybe that was a possibility with Dombrowski. So that could be a situation that now is out of play, which helps Boston. But the Red Sox got to stop treating their franchise like it's the Tampa Bay Rays. Yeah, that's the thing. I know Bloom came from there, and they want to sort of do it that way and not spend billions and still be good. They got Devers and they got Bogarts. Plus, they got other issues with the team anyway. They could use some more pitching. They have to realize to be a competitive team, they got to keep that left side of the infield together. That's going to be a very interesting decision
because they're on the verge
of being obsolete.
If Tampa is good, if they can hold on, they might be a little bit
best team. Baltimore is better too.
Baltimore, they're at the bottom of the division. The Red Sox who are charging the most for tickets.
You could make that argument, and I think that they will be shamed into making sure they keep those both Bogarts. And I know Devers is not a free agent yet, but I think they might be shamed into doing it. Because if they do let Bogarts go after they let Betts go. Now, Betts was never going to sign there anyway, but the fact they didn't engage with Betts with a contract, if they let Bogarts go, that's going to be a major problem in that town, in that division, with the Yankees there and everything else. They will get killed, and I think they don't want to stomach that. So I think down deep they'll find the money, to be honest with you.
One team we're not hearing a lot about, and I talked to my buddy who works for the Dodgers. He just said, man, everybody was so stunned. They lost here in San Diego. They just didn't envision this is how the season was going to end. He says still everybody's walking around in a malaise like they can't believe it. They've got a lot to do. Whole left side, center field, pitching with Walker Buehler being done. I mean,
they have issues.
What are they doing? What should they be doing?
I don't have the answer for you, but they, I don't know. Do they make Lux the shortstop? Do they go out there and get Correa? I don't know if they want to do that. We thought maybe they get Verlander. The Mets beat him to it with the $43.3 million. They sort of got hurt with Bauer, and obviously they certainly got hurt with Scherzer to a degree, so maybe they shied away from that big pitcher. But the Dodgers have some problems. They got a lot of questions. Both Turners are out. I guess they're going to play Lux at short. They could put, they got Muncy still sitting there, but they let Bellinger go too. They got issues. But one thing about the Dodgers, they have resources, farm system, a good GM. They got plenty of money, and it's a great place to play. You're going to hear from them before too long. You'll hear from them.
I think about the Padres and the report coming out that the Padres
want a shortstop, and they also they offered Turner all that money. $341 million.
Tatis, Machado, Turner, still got to sign Soto. Is that just proof that everybody's cash rich?
San Diego and the only team in town, beautiful ballpark, owners got money, got a good TV contract. I don't think the Marlins are rich. The Pirates aren't rich. The Reds aren't rich. But, teams like the A's aren't rich. I don't know what they're going to do with this ballpark either. No. But they're going to get out of Oakland. They're going to be in Vegas. Changing the subject. I'd be shocked if they stay in Oakland. Manfred told me at the World Series that, it sounds like he was very indicative of them going to Vegas. I hate to do that for the fan base in Oakland. But there's money in the sport. And they're spending it right now, $300 million on Turner.
What do you think of 11 years?
Too much for me. I wouldn't have done that.
I was asking everybody here, where are you going to be in 11 years?
Who the hell knows? I'll be retired. I'll be 74 years of age.
You'll still be playing tennis, though.
I will. Yes, I will be. But at 74, if I'm doing this, I'm nuts. No, I shouldn't say that, as I love the radio. But yeah, that's a lot. But there's a lot of money in the sport. You're right. The Padres, they offered Turner a fortune. We shall see. We shall see.
Yeah, I was shocked by that.
But the Dodgers will be heard from. The Dodgers are not going to go quietly into the night. The Dodgers are going to be heard from. They are going to spend some money. They have something up their sleeve. They're too good. They have something up their sleeve. I don't know who. Maybe Bogarts, put him at shortstop. Maybe they can make a run there. We'll see if but the problem is a lot of people think a lot of these deals are going to go by the wayside now because they're going to start with Turner in 11 years, and none of these other teams are going to go 11 years.
Yeah.
So maybe the Turner thing ruined a lot of deals because now these agents are going to want to be where Turner is, and nobody's going to give them that money. You got to keep that in mind, too.
Let's end on this. The one thing that I've seen with the Houston Astros, and, of course, being our division, we talk to them all the time. We see them all the time. They're great at saying, you know what, you cost too much now. They spend money, but you cost too much now, whether you're talking about a Carlos Correa, a Garrett Cole. We'll go find something else and still win.
And they're smart and they're good at it. Yep.
Very good. I think of Correa, and everybody's telling me 28, how great he is. Is everybody all in? Where are you on?
He's overrated.
Thank you, because I'm like, if he was this great, we wouldn't be doing this dance again.
He's very good in shorts and postseason play. You like him on your team. He's just a good postseason hitter. Hits the ball out of the ballpark. He's very good there. But over 162, and where he's got to be, he had 20 homers and 60 RBIs. I mean, can we take it easy?
Yeah.
So from the standpoint of an everyday basis with him over a long season, I don't count on him. Plus, he's got back issues. In a short series, he's very good. But the problem is Minnesota's not in short series. So I'd be very careful about him.
Well, I've said this about A's Cast, and it's funny now everybody in our industry kind of knows what's going on. When I left terrestrial radio to start this, and we've now kind of turned it also into TV, I thought about you. And I thought about you leaving WFAN to go Sirius XM. So it was kind of one of those, it can be done. And sometimes you do need to make change in your career. And I know I've told you that before, but I was so happy for you getting into the Radio Hall of Fame, because for guys of my generation, you inspired us.
I appreciate that.
And you inspired me to do something like this that continues to grow. And that's why I was so happy for you to go into the Hall of Fame.
That's a hell of a job. You guys are the best. I love coming on. Keep it going.
That's the Mad Dog, the Hall of Famer, right here on A's Cast Live.
Nice job.